You're probably trading a prop firm and wondering, how do I get to the path of my first payout, my second payout, whatever the case may be. Let me give you my simple approach at it and tips on how to avoid almost certainty that you will not get on the path to payouts. So first, let's take a look at strategy. Of course, I have my own, but I just want to give you a long idea and a short idea of just how simple it could be. This is on ES, all in the 1 minute. We're going to scalp with the VWAP. Now, this is the 15-minute opening range, these black horizontal lines, the first 15 minutes of the day. Now, just 3 tips to keep in mind is don't chase the first break of this opening range high, right? They don't often run very far. So if we know it doesn't want to run very far, I don't want to be jumping at the top of a move anyways, right? You should almost look at it as, I'm trying to get in before the move is super obvious, right? So if we just saw all this climbing here, I missed it. I wasn't long there. I can't get in long now. But too many people FOMO in because maybe they don't have confidence that their strategy can present multiple times a day or that they have multiple ways into the market. So if we know, okay, yeah, oh well, I missed that boat. Let me let it pull back, see if sellers step in here on the New York view up. They do not. Buyers defend it with a higher low. Beautiful. Now the second break outside the open range high, right? Same price as I said, don't buy it there 5-10 minutes ago. But now it's the second breakout. We've now seen it maybe pull back. Maybe it's loading up to now make this next move, right? We missed the first one. Let it pull back. Take the second part of the move, right? And we'll go over some other key notes on it as well. But take a look at a short here. Drawn up so a kindergartner can understand this. Same idea. Don't chase this opening range low break for the first time. See it pull back. Also, it helps create structure where you want your stop loss to be, right? Let's picture we do sell here on this red circle. Where do I want my stop loss to be? This pin back here? I mean, I'll just get tapped. Maybe I fortunately put it up there and I survive that pullback, but that's a lot of heat immediately. I like to see it make the pullback, create the structure for my stop loss, and now I can get in with more confidence that there's my structure. We shouldn't really break that if sellers are going to hold in control here. And then timing it wise of selling it on the second break outside open range low is going to be the time that's most likely to move faster, but also the way that you want it to move in the direction of trend. Now, of course, all this is taught on AceFX TV in the Futures 2.0 course. And I am making some updates to it. I know a lot of you wanted like 15-minute analysis on it. I have a higher time frame chapter in this, just not as in-depth because it wasn't as heavily used as part of my plan. So I will make an update to that. But you can always start a free trial and join that. But let's go over the charts here of this past week and take what we just took a look at. One of those trades was from this week. But another tip to get on the path to payouts, right? How simple that strategy just sounded. But we're going to take other setups outside of it just because. That's how you don't get on the path to payouts, because now you're taking setups that aren't part of your plan, that aren't resonating with what your strategy is telling you to do, but you just want to be in the market, wanting to either get the adrenaline rush of being in the market or wanting to be right, that you're using all this market experience of saying, I know where this wants to go next, right? And it feeds your ego or it feeds your whatever, your impatience that you just want to be in the market. That do you want to make money or do you want to just be in a trade, right? Because if you want to make money, then you're going to wait for the simple, clean, repeatable, in-trend moves that you know are probably going to pay you 7 to 8 times out of 10. But if we start taking other types of setups just because, well, there's no saying that I'm going to win 6, 7, or 8 out of 10 because I have no tracking on it, right? So let's take a look at Monday to start the week. Now, another tip, I made a video about it before. Leaving trades alone once they come back inside this 15-minute opening range, right? It's the same range we just looked at in those other markups. That we had a drop here at the open. Now, there was a few people that did sell it on that day off the New York view up, but notice how there's no real turn off of it. Buyers just step right in and slice right through it, which again, not to sidetrack, but just the whole idea of not buying it right on that black line there, hoping buyers step in, right? Because that example would just be sellers slice it right through. So if you could see it start to turn and buyers do show their hand, then there's the buy signal. Inversely for this short, if sellers could have defended this and started to turn down a little bit, that would be a viable sell signal. But sellers never stepped in. Buyers just took it right back. So can we make money inside this opening range? Of course we can. I saw there was a bounce off this New York after almost a higher high and higher low. You catch the pullback, you catch the next pop. But I'm seeing a lot of people get chopped up in this 15-minute opening range. A lot of people, and myself included some days, because it's very tricky to know the timing of when it's ready to move as well as the direction of it because it's very sporadic and not following through. So if we can let it get outside this opening range, like we get here, new information, a new high of day, finally, we're in trend. I noticed that if you look at the course as well, my best trades come after a new high of day or a new low of day has been made, right? Because now we're trending. It makes a new high. Okay, cool. Pull back. And then I'll look to go get the next new high, aka that. All right, made a new high, let it pull back. I'll try to go get the next new high. Going back to this other markup, it's the same thing. How it's following a new high a day, pull back, let's go make the next new high. The reason I say that is, can you make money in this range over here long? That if I were to buy this pullback here, or maybe even that pullback, I could, but it didn't technically just make a new high day since the high day is still way back here. So it could be a little bit better. So just thinking more in probabilities of what would I love to see? Could this make money long? Could this move higher a little bit? We are above New York. Yes, of course, right? Always be thinking like that, always be generating ideas, but just have the pickiness to know this doesn't look like my plan. This doesn't look like my best setup, so I need to leave it alone because I'm trying to take payouts. I'm trying to repeat a process that pays me over the long term so I can win more trades than not. I don't know if I long here, I win more than I don't. I don't know. But I know if I let it break for a new high a day, pull back, wait for buyers to step in on a high day view up break, I'll probably win more times than not because that's the strategy I've tested. That's the strategy that got me payouts. So now I'm comfortable with the risk I'm putting on. I'm comfortable sitting through drawdown, through chops, through slowness, whatever, because I've seen it play out. I know that's the best plan for me. But if you're starting to just take setups that could win, then we have no saying what the time will do the more and more you trade it. So just notice how the best trades often come outside this opening range high once it's in the clear direction, aka making a new high a day or a new low a day. So that was on Monday. Let's go backwards here a little bit. Let's start on, we can go to Friday, we can go to Thursday. It's all the same. This was on the next day, Friday, to start the end of the week. Just mark off this zone. It's a big one, very, very choppy. But notice how this one makes a new low of day, right? So we definitely could have shorted it in here with lower highs up top, break below New York. That does run nicely. So I'm not saying you can't make money in it. Of course you can. But we're trying to be as consistent as possible. I'm trying to get you guys to avoid as many losers as possible. So with that advice in mind, then let's be really, really picky for what almost is some of the best trades that are going to give us the best probabilities. Make a new low a day. See it start to pull back to our key VWAP of New York VWAP. Right, it's the same thing. We're not chasing it at the low. We missed that move. Missed the train. Damn. Let it pull back. We'll try to hop on the next one before it's ready to leave. And then notice how you're taking the break of low a day view up as it's also breaking out of the opening range low. This danger zone that I'm saying that we want to leave alone. Now sellers are stepping back out. We just made a new low a day. Let's go make another new low a day. Now made a small new one, which is good. But if this were to just continue as a strong, clear trending day, then that would definitely be probably feeding even more shorts, right? But the fact that it did make a new low a day, you make money. And then when it doesn't make new lows a day anymore, it comes right back inside the range. That's when it's no longer trending. And yeah, our strategy is probably not going to work very well. So if you could just recognize, are we trending today? Not could it trend today? Is it maybe looking like it wants to trend? Are we currently trending? Did we just make a new high or new low? We could take that same information to the day prior. It's another good example. Very sporadic. So obviously there's many ways to make money in this. And if you're in our Discord or on stream, I'll mark up all these ideas and share the markups I take. But just notice how the best trades are probably outside of the range. Now on this day, same thing. Could you make money in that little pop there? Of course. Definitely some viable ideas there because there was some VWAPs underneath us that we don't have on right now. But regardless, let's see it make a new high a day. Awesome. Let's anchor a high a day view up. Let's go to that pin there. So we get a pullback inside the range. Not bad. Maybe it's going to form our higher low from this low of day for sure. We're above New York. 15 minutes looking more bullish. Doesn't get outside the range, but it also doesn't break that high of day view up, telling me buyers are back in. And then again, once we get to New York, rather than predicting we're going to bounce, let me see if we do bounce. If we do start to turn, which we do not, so okay, we haven't longed it yet, but now we're back inside the range, so I don't really know what to do. Now this one's tough because NQ looked a little bit different on this day. But notice how there's a new low of day. Not really a new low of day, right? From back here. On ES, outside the range. Pull back to New York. That was a nice short there if you looked at it on NQ because NQ did make a new low a day. But regardless, let that one make a new low. All right, new low a day. We are, in fact, trending a little bit now because sellers were able to make a new low. We're following these lower highs and lower lows now. Pull back to New York VWAP, creating a next lower high. The break outside open range low again, next new lower low. Because now the trend is starting to set in and we're outside of this range and also making new lows, right? So if you can get a new low of day pullback, that's going to be your best short. For a long, if you can get a new high a day, pull back, go make the next new high, that's going to be your best long, right? Which is what the idea back here would have been, right? New high a day, pull back. Let's go make the next new high. Let's continue these higher highs and higher lows. The market just wasn't having it. It didn't want to be bullish because you can see it came right back down. So we don't need to go over all these days. There's a bunch of examples in all of them. One more we could look at. I already made a video on it, so we won't spend too much time on it. But it's the same thing where this whole range thing came about. But this is on ES. A whole bunch of chop. Where does this want to go? I think it wants to go long. Some people think it wants to go lower. Well, we don't really need to decide. Let it show us new information of not chasing the first break outside open range high. Let it pull back, defend it, catch the next leg out of it, because now the trend is starting to set in. So I've already went over this markup. I don't want to go over it too long, but it's the same idea. Let it get outside the range, show some sort of trend, because if we're trying to take payouts and we're trading without trend, but our strategy that I've taught you is dependent on trend, then you have no one to blame but yourself for clicking the buttons of, why aren't I making money? Why aren't I winning trades? What the hell? I'm taking good setups, I thought. It's not a good setup if it's not trending, right? And you could even take that information later on in some days when it's like a new high a day, pull back, I'm looking to take it back long. But the bias isn't long, right? For whatever reason on that day, because the 15 minutes bearish, or it's actually didn't make a new high day, whatever. You just have to be honest with yourself of, are we actually trending? What is my bias? Now let me try to get in with the VWAP opportunities that hopefully you've learned here, right? Because so many times it's just forcing trades that we think could happen, rather than just keeping it simple, almost like it has to just paint exactly the way I want. Otherwise, I know I don't have great odds with it, or I don't know what the stats are on it, right? But it requires a lot of patience, because some days, like these days back here, you're long at 10, 11. You got to wait 40 minutes. I think we could all wait 40 minutes at the open. But on this day back here, you got to wait for a new low a day, pull back, break of low a day, view up. You're not getting short till 12:30. Can we wait till 12:30? Some can, some won't. Some literally can't because they're not at the desk anymore. So it is what it is day in and day out. We just have to be willing to stay small when it's not looking hot, and then strike when the iron is hot, because our trend is just going to sometimes set in early on the day, sometimes later on, but that's not up to us. We just have to read and react, know where our probabilities are, keep it simple. And one last thing, keep your red days small. Don't overtrade all this wild price action trying to force a move out of it, right? Just realize how quickly money can compound. I guess two last things. I don't want to ramble for too long, but with the top 1 accounts, with code Evan, you can get a little bit more. I think you get 40% off. So for like $1,000, you can get 3 of these 50K accounts. Right, you got to just make $3,000. If you put them on copier, you'll make $9,000 across the 3, right? But you need to make $3,000. If I said, hey, just make me $3,000 by the end of the month, why are we trying to make $1,000 today? You only need $150 a day to get me that $3,000 by the end of the month, right? You can even afford a few off days of not trading at all. But the thing that's going to hold you back is if we have big red days. This is like my oldest month that I remember it at. This is September from this past year. Of just notice how I won. I was right way more than I was wrong. But I made like $500 because 3 of the days were ginormous compared to the wins. So this day where it's 16 trades, 10 trades compared to the 5 trades, 4 trades, 2 trades. Having big blow up days on these days, forcing moves when the market's not clear here, is just going to hold you back. I know you want to make as much money today as you can because you just want to. Because you're in a rush, you have these expectations of when you're going to take this payout. But forcing trades when it's not ideal conditions is just going to keep you going backwards and keep you from taking that payout. Because if you could have just survived this day, and then you come in the next day when it's making lower highs and lower lows, you just easily short it, that's where you make your money. Same thing on this other day. Very, very choppy. But if you traded the day prior and you did your job, you capitalized on the trend, that's where you make your money, and that's when you get one step closer to payout. Just don't try to take one step backwards the next day, right? If you could just survive, that's almost like taking a step forward because you didn't lose any money unnecessary in the process to your strategy, all that different stuff. So hopefully you found value in it. Hopefully you guys won't trade the 15-minute opening range. I've made a couple videos on it, so hopefully you guys aren't getting sick of them. Hopefully it's helping you guys of avoiding certain trades, being patient, removing that FOMO of noticing there's still great trades out there. It's a little bit tough some days, but there's still a lot of great trades and great opportunities if you could just learn to wait. And the expectations of not needing to rush should hopefully help you wait as well. That you don't need a lot of money each day to get these payouts that you want. You need to make $3,000 in a month if you want to put it. You don't need to do it in a month. I'm just saying a lot of people don't even want to wait a month to take that payout. But $3,000 in a month, you could really chip away day by day with small size, not a lot of trades, even be flat some days. But if you keep taking big losses and overtrade a lot of days, you're just going to keep going backwards. So keep that in mind. Always feel free to reach out if you got any questions. I appreciate you guys always tuning in. Make sure you check out the top 1 sale while it's still running. I'll see you guys on the charts tomorrow morning.